There are a few of us here today. We don't have a quorum, but I'm very happy to see our commissioner, Miss Sheila Williams, and Miss Carlin, who has been such a support for us from Human Relations. So welcome, ladies. We will go ahead and get started for this October 1st, 2025 AHI Commissioners Meeting. So while we don't have a quorum, we will need to then table approving our former minutes. But I guess, Ms. Carlin, should we take roll or should we do roll call or just wait and see if we have more commissioners come in?
We can go ahead and do roll call, and if they come in, that's fine. That's what we can.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Chairperson Villa Gomez,
Present.
Mr. Duro, Mr. Finney, Mr. Fulton, Ms. McNeil, Ms. Sheila Williams, Ms. Rodney,
Okay.
and Ms. Witters.
Thank you, Ms. Carlin. So I will share from the agenda. While we haven't had a quorum for the past few months, there has been a great amount of work and progress for AHI as we are working behind the scenes to continue to support our goals and our mission. And so I do want to update those of us who are here and for the official record what those areas of progress are. So let me go ahead and go through those. So first of all, I have been speaking with various community members about our oral history subcommittees and part of our mission to not just collect oral histories through subcommittees, but also photos, documents, and various memorabilia for our digital North Carolina collection. That is one of our main goals and our priorities in terms of the work of the commission as a whole. So I was hoping to just encourage everyone on the commission today to go and look back on our one of our AHI websites has all of our subcommittee collection areas. So ideally and officially, each of us should be in charge of one collection area. However, we are also we have the full right to help one another and sort of mix and match possible subcommittee projects across the board. And in my capacity as chair, I really try to support all of our collection areas. So with that being said, I will say that one of the things that we are doing in our partnership between the city and our Human Relations Department and WSSU is that we have been recording our student interns who are aligned to our commission and the work of AHI. We've recorded them in several capacities, one being the AHI sponsored We Built This. Ms. Sheila, who's here, was one of those project planners. We worked with the Historic Resources Commission on that project, and that was quite a success in the community. We had our Union Station grand opening, but then we had the actual exhibition over at not only Union Station and at the Coliseum Annex, but also in the WSSU O'Kelly Library. And so there are recordings of both students and architects, local African American certified architects, who grew up here. And so I did speak with Mr. Thomas Flynn, who has been aligned to this group as an archivist and who has full permission from the city to upload materials. And so he will be uploading some of those recordings. Also, Mr. Finet and Mr. Dura have shared oral histories recorded at the WSSU archive. Those will be uploaded. And then more recently, from last spring, some of our student interns did some wonderful work on Miss Mady Halzuma. And so their presentations on Scholarship Day will be uploaded because their research and their work was for our current anchored project that AHI is sponsoring, and that is the Mapping Prejudice Project in Forsyth County. And so that will help us to have more items in digital NC. So hopefully Mr. Flynn will get those recordings uploaded soon. But then I also want to move on and talk more specifically about the Mapping Prejudice in Forsyth County project. It is becoming successfully more and more a community-wide project. So how so? Well, we are now continuing to host events at we will be offering some community-wide workshops. So the map maker workshops for the project, which we did hold last spring, and we did have some over the summer, one being at the Central Library. So we'll be continuing to have those. Some will be on Zoom, and some will be at the Spatial Justice Studio, where Dr. Russ Smith is the director of the studio and has collaborated on several community, both city and county projects and events through the years. But we will have a couple Mapping Prejudice community-wide projects there. But we are excited. We're getting more students involved. So there have been some Wake Forest student volunteers and paid interns for the Spatial Justice Studio who have been on the project for up to 2 years now. And they're hosting something at Wake Forest for Wake Forest students. And so my colleague, Dr. Russ Smith, who of course Human Relations knows quite well, our project was actually launched to the wider city community at the Human Relations scheduled Fair Housing Summit meeting about 1.5 years ago. So he's been working with the Wake Forest students, and then together we've been working with our interns. So there will be a WSSU campus student workshop, and that's being planned by our new group of student interns who are our political science students. We have 5 students there. And so, we would love for them, because of their interest in local and state government, that they work closely with us, really with HR through their work for AHI, as it aligns to Mapping Prejudice. So they're actively planning, along with the history majors who are interns, and then several student volunteers. So we're very excited about that. So after today's meeting, I will send an email, maybe to Carlin to circulate with the dates and times of those community-wide Zoom and Spatial Justice Studio workshops. But once we have a quorum, again, hopefully next month, I would love for us to sponsor a mapping prejudice workshop that would be an official AAHI sponsored event with as many of our commissioners and human relations staff and leaders present. Maybe we will do that early next year. So this is just sort of an introduction to um, that piece that would be, I think, very nice way to continue to actively show our presence in the community and connect with community members. So I will make sure that either myself or Miss Carlin will send out those meeting dates and times. Then the other thing that, especially for the sake of Miss Sheila, Miss Carlin heard this last month. Oh, I'm actually skipping an item. So let me get back to the new Kimberly Park neighborhood project. So this is something that I am developing along with my student intern. She is a history major. She grew up in Winston-Salem, moved away, raised children, helped her husband as he sought his PhD, and she's moved back. She is a senior, a brilliant woman. She's one of, I think, 11 children, and she's sort of in the middle. So she moved back to her family home and her siblings, some of whom are older. They have vivid memories and photos and all kinds of wonderful things to share about life, the life of their family in Kimberly Park. And so I think since we are doing neighborhoods and we've been hoping that some of our commissioners would take up maybe their neighborhood that they might still reside in or where they grew up. I think this could be a nice example. So I'm very excited to work with my new intern. I have invited her to join as a commissioner, but we'll see if she does that. But nonetheless, I would love to bring her in at some point when we have a quorum so the committee can meet her. But as a sort of exemplary model, what we hope to accomplish is that she and I would be interviewing her siblings and discussing their memories and what they learned about their families here, and just all the sorts of wonderful everyday life things that Councilperson Scipio and I have encouraged people to share. And they do have a family church that it's not in Kimberly Park, but very interestingly, my intern, like she just found a property deed in her review for her mapping prejudice work where her family church, which is a historic Black Methodist church in town, the property was purchased for the church maybe over 100 years ago. So we may be doing some work around that. But I'm very, very excited because I think just from within her family circle and her church circle, we'll be able to collect some awesome oral histories and photos and memorabilia. We may end up doing a separate project just on her church. So she's investigating any kinds of records that her church might have going way back that we could use and upload, and that would go into the AHI digital NC churches collection category. So we're really excited about that. And then finally, we did initiate a Reverend Dr. K.R. Williams project when I first came on board 5 years ago. And some of our student interns at that time during COVID worked behind the scenes on behalf of AHI by reviewing what the WSSU archive has in terms of the K.R. Williams collection. We considered submitting a application to have him commemorated through the North Carolina Civil Rights marker program. So we're revisiting this because we need to commemorate such an important individual as he was. He was our first Black alderman in decades and decades after Reconstruction, elected back in the 1940s. So he served our community in that capacity. He was a Baptist lead pastor of one historic Black Baptist church, and then he served first as a history and religion professor, and then as chaplain, and then as president, and finally as the first chancellor of WSSU when the UNC system reorganized. So his accomplishments are many, and we have that whole auditorium named after him, which the state is now funding in a big remodeling project. So it is our hope that we could, as AHI, and along with the help of our interns, submit an application either for our local markers program with our local Historic Resources Commission or through the state's North Carolina Civil Rights Program, and hopefully align that with the grand opening of the remodeling of our auditorium. So that is sort of a long-term project, and I'll be working behind the scenes with our since it might be on state property, then seeing what we can do about the legal side of putting the marker up on state property. So I'll keep up, I'll share updates next month on that. And then finally, several of us, including Mr. Finet, as well as some of our student interns, feel that one priority should be some type of a commemoration of Miss Mady Halzuma, whose father was the first Black physician in town, and whose mother was a wonderful entrepreneur and also community servant. She did many, many things on behalf of the Black community well over 100 years ago. And Miss Mady came back and lived in Winston, lived out the rest of her life after she served as the first president of the Women's Organization for the African National Council. And she came back and raised lots of money through different arts sort of events and performances, because she was a gifted musician. And so she kind of helped to center local arts as they were connected to what was going on politically in South Africa. And so Durham has actually had a Miss Mady Halzuma Day, and we would like to do something in that capacity. Students have done some work already. As I mentioned, we recorded their presentations last spring, but it might be, I think she is another local Black leader and superstar, really an international person who we should remember in our community. She really deserves to have a marker and a commemoration. But I think down the line we could organize an AHI main event that focuses on Miss Mady. I do also need to share this one last update. So Mr. Flynn and I were brainstorming about another AAHI anchored project that would bring attention to AHI and to our Black community. He mentioned NASCAR. So WSSU has a NASCAR funded sports management program. And of course, some of the NASCAR races are now back over at the Bowman Gray Coliseum. But there's one citizen who has all kinds of memorabilia related to local Black NASCAR drivers and NASCAR events. And we think that this might be a way to, again, distinguish the work of AHI. And this would be a manageable project that could bring in on our campus students and faculty and staff from across, but would bring in certain people from our community. And this would not be a difficult thing for us to begin to start documenting, collecting, and uploading photos and memorabilia and recording oral histories for our digital NC. So I know that's a lot, but again, we're actually accomplishing a lot on behalf of the commission behind the scenes. So I'm really excited about our progress. So I should probably stop there because there might be questions from our commissioner, Ms. Williams, or from Ms. Carlin, who's our support staff.
Chairperson, marketing just emailed me and said to let you know that the committee, an ad will appear in the Winston-Salem Journal this Sunday, October the 5th.
Wonderful.
And I emailed you what it's going to look like.
Perfect. Okay. So after we get off the Zoom call, I'll definitely take a look at that. That's really wonderful news. I'm excited to hear that. I think that's a great way to advertise. And then if we get inquiries, people call in, then we can share. And of course, you, Ms. Carlin, you can direct them toward me and have them email me, and I'll be happy. Of course, we want to bring in as many people from the community, and maybe through that that advertisement, we might get people interested either in filling that vacant position we have or in joining a subcommittee for our collections areas. So thank you. That's great news. Commissioner Williams, do you have questions or suggestions?
No, as I always say, if I can do something to help out, you need to let me know. I can get it in my schedule for, to be able to contribute in some kind of way.
Thank you, Commissioner Williams. I will make sure, of course, to share the Mapping Prejudice project workshops with you and the whole commission, because that would be a wonderful way to, we are an official sponsor, but I think to have one event that is a standalone AHI MP workshop, it would probably be best to vote on that. We need a quorum for that. But I will say that every time we host one of those events, just as we hosted the We Built This or the Undesign the Red Line, which were our previous anchor projects. And I think also when the Rooted in Race project, which we didn't actually contribute to, but we sponsored, there's always a shout out to AHI as a partner sponsor. So I make sure to always do that. But it's my hope that, we will have a quorum next month, so that we could vote on planning a standalone AHI sponsored MP workshop. So whatever participation and support you would want to contribute in that way is definitely most welcome. Since our director is not here, I will just share a few more updates for the record about the things that we discussed that I think definitely are exciting. So one is that the Human Relations Department will be soon launching a sort of podcast of interviews to showcase the work of human relations in our community. And so I'm really, really excited about that. I think it really is an honor that AHI is supported fully by the leaders and staff of HR. And as you know, Miss Sheila, with your previous affiliation with HR, that office does so much work, so much support. There's so much support in so many different ways in the community. It's ongoing and it's extensive and covers many, many areas that support private citizens and groups in the community. So I think it would be an honor for AHI to be able to share in how we've received support. And then since HR is sponsoring us, we can talk about the work of our commission. And that's another way. I think that HR is very aggressively, in the most positive way, working with marketing and other offices and other staff to really get the community's attention and get people involved. But again, it really is wonderful to work with HR, and I am just eternally grateful for what Carlin and our directors, our new director, our former directors have done, and along with Erica Simon as well. But everybody has been wonderful. So I'm glad we have that continuing relationship, and I'm grateful to the new ways that we are being supported by HR. Also, Mr. Jelani and I discussed possibly the one thing that we see as a manageable way to maybe get more oral histories completed sooner rather than later is to think about the people on the commission who could work with their local churches, since churches are one of our collection areas, and many people on our commission have they have wonderful church member connections, and churches do seem to be a way to offer sort of large group event opportunities. So we've seen that with Mapping Prejudice. So we've already been hosted by Knollwood Baptist and Centenary Methodist. And there have been so many people from the community who've come out. So it's still our hope that then we could sort of use those examples for organizing standalone African American heritage church related collection events. So that's what we're thinking about behind the scenes. And of course, I'm working with my new intern, specifically not only on a Kimberly Park collection project, but on her local project for her church. So that's sort of all I have to share. I know that's a lot, but again, I'm excited because we're brainstorming, we're thinking about new ways to further our mission and achieve our goals for AHI. And you know, we're hoping for more sort of connections with both individuals and groups in our community. So that really is all I have to share. I know, again, it's a lot, but Ms. Sheila and Ms. Carlin, any thoughts, any suggestions or questions about all of these things I have shared today?
No,
I
not at this time.
I did not remember to see when our November meeting is scheduled. I can check that quickly before we end our meeting today. Let's see.
November the 5th?
Yes, that's what I see as well. Thank you, Miss Carlin. So I will call this meeting to a close in a minute, but I do want to, for the record, state that we will meet as a commission again on Wednesday at 2 p.m., Wednesday, November 5th. Again, any last thoughts, suggestions, or questions to offer before we close our meeting?
No, not for me.
All right. Well, thank you very much, ladies. And so I will keep everyone posted on what we're doing behind the scenes. And Ms. Carlin, I'll definitely take a look at what you mentioned earlier about the advertisement. And then I'll send you the dates. You and I can decide whether I send out the Mapping Prejudice Workshop information and dates, or you send it on behalf of the committee. So I'll be back in touch shortly with you on that.
Okay.
Thanks again, and take good care, and have a great month. I hope your October goes very well. Take good care.
Bye.
All right, thank
Bye-bye.
you.